Hi everyone, welcome to SK's e-Shikshalaya, and today we are going to continue with the same topic, that's the French Revolution Part 5. But today we are going to talk about the role of women in French Revolution, and did revolution bring changes in the lives of the women? So let's see this in Part 5 today. First, women's participation in the revolution, women and education, political clubs, demands of the women, laws to improve the living conditions of women, right to vote, and little information about Olympe de Gauche. So let's start with women's participation in the revolution. Women enthusiastically contributed towards all the events of the revolution that brought about changes in the French society. And women joined the struggle in an anticipation that their participation would compel the revolutionary government to take initiatives on improving their lives. Most women, they belonged to the third estate and had to work for their survival and faced great difficulties in providing basic needs for the family. And women participated actively in French Revolution throughout and fought for their demands. So let's look at their major demands. First, to have political reforms. Second, to have a written constitution. Third, availability of staple food. And fourth, control on the price of bread. But women were agitated and frustrated because of the persisting rising price and shortage of bread that enraged women. There were rumors that food was being hoarded to be distributed to the privileged, that is, to the clergy and the nobility. And there were stories of conspiracy to destroy the wheat crop to starve the population. And because of all these three reasons, demonstrations took place in the marketplace in Paris on 5th October 1789. It is very important because it is also referred to as the October March or March on Versailles. Women carried improvised weapons like kitchen blades, knives, axes. Some men also joined them and they reached Versailles. And women protesters forced the king to return to Paris. So mostly women from the third estate went for demonstration and they carried improvised weapon in a hope to bring back king from Versailles to Paris so that the king could see the conditions of the women. They also hoped that they would achieve equality, liberty, and right to vote. Now, women of the third estate were engaged in selling of flowers, vegetables, and fruits in the market, laundresses or as seamstresses. Seamstresses means who stitches the clothes, and as domestic helpers in the houses of the wealthy people. So now let's look at the state of education of women. Now women belonging to the third estate, they had no opportunity for education and occupational training. Only girls belonging to the wealthy family or nobility could study at the convent, and after education they were married. Household chores of working women. So women who were working had to do household chores like cooking, fetching water, standing in long queues to buy bread, and taking care of children. Wages of women were lower than the men. Let's look at the political clubs of women. Now, women form their own political clubs and they publish newspapers to raise and promote their issues and interests. In different French cities, there were about 60 women's clubs, and the most prominent one was the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women during the Robespierre's rule. Now, with the coming of the Constitution of 1791, the women were in a hope that they would get some political rights, but they were disappointed as the Constitution of 1791 classified them as passive citizens. So let's look at their demands, what they were demanding. First, to have same political rights as men. Second, the right to vote, the right to be elected in the assembly, and to hold political office. And they hoped that through these demands, the demands which they were making, their interests would be represented in the new government. Now, there were some certain laws that were introduced initially by the revolutionary government which improved the living conditions of women. Let's see that. First, creation of state schools, compulsory schooling for all girls. Girls could not be forced to get married against their will. The marriage became a contract and entered on their own will and registered under civil law. Divorce became legal, where both men and women can apply for divorce. The women were able to train for jobs, they were able to run a small business, and they can even become an artist. Women continue to struggle for equal political rights. And during the period of Robespierre, the period of Robespierre was also called as the Reign of Terror. He ordered the closure of women's club and to ban all their political activities. And many women activists were arrested and executed. The right to vote, how they got the right to vote. The political activities of the French women in the revolutionary years, it inspired the future generations. And for the next 200 years, women continue to struggle for the right to vote and equal wages in many parts of the world. And through an international suffrage movement in the late 19th and early 20th century, the fight for the right to vote continued. And in 1946, women in France secured the right to vote. So let's look at one of the revolutionary women of France, that is Olympe de Gouges. Her time period is from 1748 to 1793. She was most active woman in revolutionary France and she opposed the Constitution of 1791 and Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizens as it excluded women from basic rights that each individual was entitled to. In 1791, she wrote Declaration of Rights of Women and Citizens and hoped that the Queen and the National Assembly acted upon it. And in 1793, she condemned the Jacobin government for closure of women's club. And hence, in a trial by the National Convention, she was charged with treason and executed. This is for your reference. So This is all for today. We have seen that how actively women participated in the French Revolution and in getting the political rights for themselves. Thank you.